Let's reason together. And I want you to tell me the truth. When you come across people who are dealing with one mental illness or the other, and for which drugs or medications have been prescribed, but for some reasons unknown to you, these people go off their medications. How do you feel about that? Do you judge them? Do you try to encourage them? Do you mock them? Sometimes it entails lots of patience to be able to deal with people who are actually aware that they are supposed to take their medications for their mental illness. But for some reasons, they just stop. But stick with me as I tell you the possible reasons why people could go off their medications. If you're an old subscriber, hi there, you're welcome back to this channel. And if you're new, if you're just seeing my face for the first time, hello, my name is Paula and this is Paula's Health Tricks. I teach you how to stay on top of your mental health game and I give you relatable tips. You might want to subscribe to this channel and don't forget to hit the bell button so that you don't miss out on new videos. While dealing with mental illness, there is an array of issues that you're dealing with at the same time. These issues can come as a result of the diagnosis. Some of these other issues come in the process of your treatment. The very first reason is right in the hands of the healthcare provider. Yes. If there is no good relationship between the healthcare provider and the clients, if clients get along with their healthcare provider, they are most likely to adhere to the medical advice, lifestyle modifications, to the dosage, to all of the drug interaction, drug food interaction that the healthcare provider is going to convey to them in the process of counseling and education. And this is why there are clients who prefer some certain healthcare providers to others. They feel that this person is more empathic than the other. They feel that this person is more relatable. This person does not speak jargons compared to this other person that they barely understand what they say. So if a client feels that this healthcare provider ticks my boxes, yeah, I'm going to get along with that person. And it's also important to establish a cordial relationship, professional relationship with the client, and let the client understand that you actually know what you are doing. Of course, you have to equip yourself with all of the knowledge that you need to take care of that ailment, and do not fail to research in cases where it is important to do that. And irrespective of what cadre of health profession that you belong to, you can give support to this client. And another important aspect that we might seem to miss out on as healthcare providers is that the client might prefer a certain kind of decision making. The client might prefer passive, might prefer shared decision making, or might want to play an active role. As a healthcare provider, it's important that you inform the clients which is best in every situation, especially when it's time to choose the client's medications or when it's time for you to tell the client what's best for them. So the relationship between the client and the healthcare provider goes a long way to tell if the client is going to stick to these medications or not. Two, the cost of the medication. Yes. Sometimes these people aren't even able to afford these medications. It is possible that they can afford a certain brand, but the particular brand that is prescribed, for some reasons best known to the medical practitioner, cannot be afforded by the client. And when you talk about affordability, you have to talk about a lot of things. You talk about the personal income, you talk about the cost of living, talk about the exchange rate, talk about the standard of living, talk about the earning power of the clients, talk about, a lot of the financial management. So you have to take into cognizance the client status, social status, level of wealth, and all of that while prescribing. You don't want to prescribe brands that the client is not able to afford. It defeats the entire aim of the treatment. So it is very vital that the healthcare provider is able to establish that a client is able to afford a particular brand. If there are brands that are free or brands that are subsidized, let the client be able to know so that the client can choose. There are some clients that you tell, okay, considering what you do for a living, I don't know, I just want to find out, can you afford this? This is the cost of this medications. And they tell you, yeah, I have family members who can buy it for me, I don't mind. You can go ahead and prescribe it. It might be detrimental to the client if you keep insisting that a certain brand that the client cannot afford is the brand that you're emphasizing on the client's buying. So it's important to be sure that the client can afford the medication. In some instances, you cannot help it actually. You've gone so low and the client is still not able to afford. I mean, you've done your bit as a healthcare professional. That's why we now look out for well wishers, we look out for GoFundMe accounts, we look out for all of that to be able to get the clients the minimum care package. For number three, I'm going to be treating it as an entirely different topic of its own. When you're talking about side effects, you're talking about mild to moderate to severe to life threatening. We're talking about side effects such as drooling, haziness, weight gain, lactation, lowered sex drive. And sometimes these side effects are intolerable, and people feel that their mental health is being treated at the expense of their physical health. So sometimes it's not like people just want to stop their medications. So for some reasons, I'm fine, but the moment I take my medications, I begin to have a lower sex drive. I am confused, contrary to what I was before I took the medications. I mean, and the thing with this side effect is it goes back to the number one reason I gave. If a client has a good relationship with their doctor or their healthcare provider, it is easy for them to go back. For example, acaphasia is a side effect that just by adding an extra medication, it is taken care of. But the client might not know if they do not communicate and receive a feedback from their healthcare provider. So it is important still that at every point in time, there's a relationship between the client and the healthcare provider. So for these side effects, what do we do? At the point of contact, we try to, spell out the side effects in ways that the client will understand in a way that doesn't scare the client. And at the same time, try to also let the client know that when they experience these medications, it's not time to stop. It's time to come back and get counseling. And sometimes these side effects are treated while others go away with time. There are some others that the client just gets accustomed to. There are others that joining peer groups and support groups will also help the client a lot in taking care of. Number four is comorbidities, comorbid conditions or concurrent disorders. When you talk about comorbidities, you're talking about more than one condition existing in a person. For instance, if a person is schizophrenic or is has bipolar disorder but has some other ailments such as maybe substance abuse or is dealing with a substance abuse and all of that, it is possible that because this person is dealing with substance abuse, these substances that the person takes can neutralize or reduce or even potentiate the effects of their antidepressants or their antipsychotics. So how this works is the person takes in drug A or medication A, which is prescribed by a doctor, and this other medication or these drugs that the person is doing is actually not prescribed. These two substances interact, and in interaction, there could be positive, there could be negative, and this can cause toxicity, like an exaggerated, feel of the drug in their system. It can cause effects that are unsavory, and it might cause the person to, so it is this medications that is causing this, not knowing that it's this other one that is increasing the levels of medication in the blood. It can also do what neutralize the effects of the antipsychotics or antidepressants, in which case the antidepressants are not even, existence in the body system of the person. They just get neutralized and they do not work. They get probably their dose is reduced by a half or reduced by three quarters. And what now happens is the drug is not available to work, and the client starts doubting the efficacy of the drug, not knowing that it's actually this other substance that is neutralizing the effects of the antipsychotics or antidepressant or any other medications that are used for mental health disorders. So interactions when there are comorbid conditions can make the client question the efficacy of the medication that has been prescribed, and in turn make the client drop them off and say, you know what, I'm done, it's not working, nothing is happening, and the client goes off it. Number five is stigma. Yes, stigma, Stigma. I'm sure you've heard that word before. It exists in most conditions where people think these conditions are meant for a particular kind of persons. They're meant for the poor. They're meant for people who are careless. They're meant for people who are lowly. I mean, all sorts of myths and misconceptions. So, what happens with stigma is that people feel that people who have these disease conditions are certain people, and it's usually in a derogatory manner. That's why people cannot easily bring out antipsychotics or antidepressants in public to pop them without feeling stigmatized. Because the moment in a society where people do not understand mental illness, the moment they see that you are taking medications for mental illness, they start avoiding you, they start looking at you in some certain ways, they start questioning your judgment, your ability to make rational decisions, and all of that. For instance, if there is going to be a beach party or like a campground where people go to mingle with people and they're going to stay for days or for weeks, they are most likely not going to carry their medications there because they know that they might be judged for popping antipsychotics or popping medications for mental illness. And it's a lot to deal with. Stigma is a lot to deal with. It gives so much pressure, so much mental burden to the person who is experiencing it. People get to make jests or fun of your pile of pills, and you just get tired of the whole thing and you decide not to take them anymore. You decide not to be seen with them anymore. Sometimes you lie that you're healed just so that nobody sees you with them and makes jest of them. So we need to destigmatize mental illness. People need to understand that it is possible that people become mentally ill, and there are medications, there are ways to manage mental illness, and everybody will live and fulfill their life potential. Number six, sometimes people become so well that they question the need for continuity. They don't understand why they should be continued on treatment. They don't understand why they should be retained. They don't understand why this should be lifelong. I feel so good. I feel so well. I'm no longer violent. I'm no longer down. They forget that it is these medications that are keeping them in that state of sound mind. They just feel like, do you think I still need to continue? Do I still need to be retained? Do I still need the continuity of treatment? Or am I healed? Am I totally cured of this? And for some reasons they just forget that it's lifelong and just sling back into you know that or the stage that nobody wants them to be in, and that's it. So it's important to reassure and encourage that it is lifelong. You're going to feel good at some times, but that's not a reason to stop. It is okay to be weak or tired or be worn out from taking the medications, but you just have to continue. It is lifelong. Just incorporate it into a daily activity, and it's a lot easier that way. The last reason is people become so unwell that they begin to doubt the efficacy of the medications. And this could be, as a result of many things. It could be wrong diagnosis, actually. In some instances where there's wrong diagnosis, the drugs might not be efficacious. In other instances, people just stop the medications and then they become so unwell and they don't understand why they should go back to the medications. That's where you start having those, extreme depressive thoughts. You start having the suicidal tendencies. For instance, when you talk about people who are bipolar, the manic phase actually sometimes come with a stage of euphoria, and some people want to experience the euphoric state, and so they just try to get off the drug so that euphoric state, which is a bit heightened for them and a bit of feel good for them, they try to experience it. But that's not enough to stop the medications. It's important to encourage them that this is lifelong, and it's important you take your pills every day. So when next you see someone who got off your medications, I'm sure you're going to see them in a different light. You're going to look at them with compassion. You're going to be very understanding and not judgmental towards them. Let them know that you know the possible reasons why they could get off their medications. Let them know that you care about them. So guys, I hope you learned a thing or two. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.